बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वलस इन्नल इंसान लफ़ी खुस्र इल्लल्लज़ीना आमनु व अमिलुस्सालिहाति व तवासौ बिल हक़्क़ि व तवासौ बिस्सब्र. My dear students, today I will discuss snake bite. And snake bite cases are common in the rural areas of Pakistan. Basically, snakes are of three types. First is called neurotoxic snakes, second is vasculotoxic snakes, and third are myotoxic snake. And neurotoxic snakes, they mainly act on the nervous system of the person, and vascular toxic snakes, they act on the vascular system of the person, and myotoxic snakes mainly they act on the muscles of the person. Now, snake bite, in the snake bite we will discuss classification of the snakes, what is composition of the snake venom, pathophysiology of the snake bite, clinical features of the snake bite, management of the snake bite, post-mortem findings of the snake bite, and medical legal aspects of snake bite. Snakes basically are of two types: non-poisonous snakes and poisonous snakes. And poisonous snakes, as I have already told you, that they are of further three main types. First type is elapids. These are basically neurotoxic snakes. For example, cobra, king cobra, common krait, bandit krait, and coral. Second type is vipers, and viper snakes are mainly vasculotoxic. They act on the vessels of the person, and examples of these snakes are pit vipers, as bamboo snakes, pitless vipers as Russell's vipers, and saw-scaled vipers. Third is the sea snakes. Sea snakes mainly act on the muscles of the person, so they are called myotoxic snakes. They are found in the vicinity of the sea coast. You can see this is a non-poisonous snake. It is called a rat snake. If this snake bites, there is just bite mark, and there is no poisonous effects on the person. This is poisonous snake, cobra. This is another poisonous snake, cobra. This is another type of the poisonous snake, cobra, which is called spectacled cobra. You can see on the head that it seems that this snake is wearing spectacles. And poisonous snakes, there is a spitting cobra. It spits its poison on the prey, and it sprinkles in the eye of the prey, due to which irritation, the prey cannot open the eyes. Poisonous snakes, another example is common krait, you can see in this picture. And there is another bandit krait. This is another type of the poisonous snake. There are bands in this snake. And sea snake, you can see this is comparatively flat snake, especially its tail is flat because it swims in the water. This is another poisonous snake, viper. Now, anatomy of the apparatus, venom apparatus. Basically, salivary glands, as it is in the human being, salivary gland saliva of the snake is basically poisonous, and this salivary gland is attached to the marginal teeth of the this snake, and these teeth are connected with this salivary gland, and when snake bites, the salivary gland contracts and the poison is injected through the teeth in the body of the person. In the poisonous snakes, basically there are two marginal teeth, and these marginal teeth are called, they are elongated and like hypodermic needle, as needle of the injection, and this needle they act as needle, and when this snake bites the person, this needle injects poison into the person. The fang is basically upper marginal teeth. They are modified to form fangs, which are solid in non-poisonous snakes and have a groove or channel in the poisonous ones. Fangs are connected to venom glands by means of duct. So venom gland is modified parotid salivary gland, while venom is toxic saliva of the snake. Here you can see that there are two marginal teeth which are elongated, and these teeth are called fangs. Through these fangs, snake injects poison into the person. Snake venom, this is clear, transparent, amber tinted fluid which becomes yellowish granular mass on drying. It retains activity for many years after drying. So contents of snake venom are about 20, there are about 20 components, and 90% of these are proteins, and these contains mainly enzymes, 9 non-enzymatic polypeptide toxins, and non-toxic proteins. Important enzymes are lecithinase. Lecithinase is phospholipase A2. It is most important and causes myotoxicity, neurotoxicity, cardiotoxicity, hemolysis, and increased vascular permeability. Hyaluronidase is the second important enzyme which promotes spread of the venom. And third important enzyme is L-amino acid oxidase, which gives bright yellow color to the venom. Now we will discuss clinical features of the snake bite. So, in the signs and symptoms, there are local features, local signs and symptoms, and depending upon the type of the snake, the signs and symptoms may be neurotoxic, vasculotoxic, and hemotoxic or myotoxic. Local symptom signs in the bitten part are, you can see fang marks on the bitten part. There are two fang marks. Local pain may be there, local bleeding may be there, inflammation, swelling, redness, and heat. Especially in the cases of the vasculotoxic snakes, it will be present. Bruising will be present. Lymph node enlargement may be there. Blistering of the limb or area which is bitten or may be there. Local infection and abscess formation will be there. Nexosis may be present due to dead tissue. Here you can see the fang marks. And you can see the fang marks, and these fang marks are encircled by a marker, and in the center of the circle you can see marks. These are fang marks. Local swelling and blistering after the bite. After some time there is local swelling and blistering of the area which is bitten, and next there is sloughing and necrosis of the tissue sloughs off, and there is destruction of the tissue. Bleeding, you can see in this case there may be bleeding from the fang marks, and there may be bleeding from the gums. Subconjunctival hemorrhages, they may be present in the eye. And in the neurotoxic snakes there may be mild local symptoms, there will be weakness of the legs. Local symptoms are mostly prominent in vasculotoxic snakes, but they are mild local symptoms are present in the neurotoxic snakes. And in neurotoxic snakes they will be mainly, these are due to neurotic poisoning, and there is weakness of the legs, paralysis of the muscles of the face and throat, leading to difficulty in speaking and swallowing. There will be ptosis and paralysis of the extraocular muscles, convulsions will be there, and respiratory paralysis and respiratory failure may cause the death. You can see in this case there is bilateral ptosis. Person is trying to open the eyes but unable to open the eyes due to neurological deficit. So vascular toxic and hemotoxic snakes, in these snakes you may find fang marks, there will be local swelling, cellulitis and blisters, and there will be damage to the endothelium, lysis of the RBCs, which will be followed by nephritis with hemoglobinuria. Hemoptysis and hemorrhages from the orifices will be there. Convulsions due to hemorrhage in the brain may occur. There may be collapse, coma and death. In myotoxic snakes, the symptoms are mainly related to muscles. There is sharp initial prick with minimal signs. Generalized muscular pain is followed, and this muscular pain is followed by myoglobinuria after 3 to 5 hours, and there is brown discoloration of the urine due to myoglobins, and there is respiratory failure due to due to the effect of the poison on the respiratory muscles. Now the management of snake bite. First step in the management of snake bite is allaying of the anxieties. Sometimes level of the anxiety is so high that person does not die due to the poison. Even person may die due to non-poisonous snake due to anxiety only. So first step is that you lay the anxiety of the person, and you tell the patient that all the snakes are not poisonous, only few species of the snakes are poisonous, and maybe most probably this may not be a poisonous snake. So his anxiety is relieved, and he also should be told that even the snake is poisonous, even then the survival chances are very high. So first step is allaying the anxiety of the patient. Second is prevention of the spread of the venom. And this prevention of spread of the venom is that nowadays recommended method is immobilization of the person and immobilization, especially immobilization of the part bitten by the snake. Third is rapid clinical assessment and resuscitation. And in this we have to see that whether this snake is myotoxic, neurotoxic or vascular, what type of the symptoms they are. And we should also see the status of the respiratory tract and respiratory status and cardiovascular status. And if they are compromised, resuscitation measures should be taken. Then detailed clinical assessment after making the resuscitation, then detailed clinical assessment and species diagnosis. You can ask the patient whether he has some knowledge of the species of the snake, what type of snake it was. And sometimes people, they kill the snake and they bring the snake with them, that this snake has bitten the. So if species is diagnosed, then it helps in the treatment, further treatment. And investigation and laboratory tests, they are done. For example, for urine examination to see if there are myoglobins, bleeding time, clotting time, and especially in vascular toxic snakes. And similar, there are other investigations may be needed. And then is anti-venom treatment. That anti-venom or anti-venom should be given. Anti-venom or anti-venom, both words are used. They may be given, and this anti-venom reduces the mortality from 40% to 10%. Anti-venom treatment should not be started when person comes to the hospital. Just see and wait. There are some indications to start the anti-venom treatment, because maybe this snake is not poisonous, and or the dose injected is not sufficient to cause significant poisoning. So we should see and wait. There are two main things or features we see. First is if there is extensive local tissue damage, then anti-venom treatment is indicated. Second is if there are signs of systemic poison, for example ptosis, then we indicate that this is an other indication of the poisoning. The other indication of the anti-venom treatment. So dose of the anti-venom treatment is, for adult 60 ml is given initially after test dose, because it may cause anaphylactic shock. So 1/3 is given subcutaneously at bite site, 1/3 is given intramuscularly, and 1/3 is given intravenously. If there is a danger of reaction, it may be used along with adrenaline, antihistamine and corticosteroids to avoid the side effects of this antivenom. There are two types of the antivenom. One is monovalent, which is called specific antivenom. This is monovalent this is only effective against one type of the snake. If the snake species is known, then we can give the monovalent antivenom for that species. But if species is not known, then polyvalent antivenom is given. Polyvalent antivenom it acts against different types of the snakes. It is effective against different types of the snake. If the species of the snake is unknown, it is effective against cobra, common krait, Russell's viper, and saw-scaled viper. So if the species is known, you clearly know the species. Then monospecific antivenom is recommended, and if you don't know the exact species of the snake, then polyvalent may be given. Postmortem finding in case of snake bite are: number 1, fang marks. They may be present on the body, 2 fang marks. Then local swelling and necrosis may be present. There may be asphyxial signs due to death, if death is due to respiratory failure, and death in respiratory failure may be due to in neurotoxic snake and in myotoxic snakes. Hemorrhages in the lungs, serous membranes, and endocardium may be present, especially in the cases of the vasculotoxic snakes. Necrosis of the renal tubules may be present. In the medical legal aspects, usually these are cases of snake bites are accidental, but rarely there may be homicidal cases where some person has tried to arrange some snake for biting the prisoner or some. And third is suicide by snake bite. It is reported in the literature, but it is very rare. For example, Cleopatra committed suicide by bite of the snake. Thank you very much for listening.